and welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. This week's Thriver TV episode is a really big topic, and that's why I want to do 2 episodes on it. So this week's going to be the broader strokes, and next week is going to be the finer details and some examples, some really workable examples in regard to it. The reason I really want to address this topic is so that we are not stuck in a culture of powerlessness and believing that we're not free to be happy and extended and authentic and ourselves and enjoy life. Because if we believe that, fear wins. It does, and we never ever truly live. And that is not what creation, life force, nature wanted for us. You know, life force is about us living. It's so important, and that's our real joy and our real substance is. So on abuse forums, there's a very common belief that a narcissist can target anyone and can take them in and take them down. And just to start off with, I want to give you some real life examples. In the almost 10 years that I've been involved in the MTE community and helping thousands of people recover from narcissistic abuse, and actually we just discovered from our records today that 89 different countries have actually accessed the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program. So that's pretty incredible, it really is. But in all of that time that I've been helping people recover from narcissistic abuse, I have received emails over the years from people that write in things like, Melanie, this person that I started dating, or this work colleague, you know, there was something off about them. They were trying too much to be too friendly. They were, they were being too helpful. They were too in my face. They were trying to get too over-involved in my life, and it felt really off. So I didn't take them up on it, or I even, detached from them and had nothing to do with them. And then I questioned them, and it was really quite incredible, because what these people were reporting in the emails is these people unraveled very, very quickly. So what they would do is come out with really childish, crazy sort of antics back to them, or what they would do is go and try and discredit them behind their back to friends or family or associates. And these people, when that happened, they'd said, and then they went off and made up the most incredible stories about me. But, it didn't go anywhere. My friends, my family, my work colleagues didn't believe in them, and nothing happened. And then this person just exited my life, or, stopped coming near me. And that part is actually really important. And we're going to go back to that part. How the narcissists were actually so ineffectual in these people's lives, and they truly were. I think if we're honest with ourselves, we all know, we might be able to identify people that we know in our life that are never going to get taken in by narcissists. I have girlfriends and family members and friends that I know 100% have never dealt with a narcissist, they've never done a dance with a narcissist, and they never ever will. There's one particular girlfriend, and in her dating experiences, as soon as anybody is acting a bit crazy or a bit demanding or a bit love bomby, or she'll just question them. She's just straight up, and these people they unravel, and she's like, oh gosh, no, I don't want anything to do with that. And in her life, she's got other stuff, but certainly not the narcissistic stuff and I think we all know people like that. And there really is a huge difference between people that can get taken in by narcissists and people that can't get taken in by narcissists. And it all has to do with having a matching inner identity. We can get taken in by narcissists if we have a matching inner identity. Now, I can already, from this side of the camera, probably feel that you might be getting incensed or triggered, and you might be, really getting angry and saying, do not compare me to a narcissist. And please let me explain. When I say that you have a matching inner identity to a narcissist, or that you previously had one before you up-leveled and healed, what I'm saying is not the behaviors match. Not at all. I'm not talking about behaviors. What I'm talking about is emotional inner composition. I'm talking about beliefs. Behaviors are simply the maladaptation choice that somebody has chosen in response to their inner emotional traumas. So for example, with narcissists, what they did when they divorced their inner being is they positioned themselves as me versus you, which means that I'm going to control you and I'm going to render you powerless so that you can never hurt me again. So this is a response to the childhood wounds where the narcissist was actually powerless. This maladapted false self has decided to be able to take anybody out of the competition in the game of life that is going to threaten the narcissist's false self. Whereas with the codependent, which is this community, what happened is our maladapted sense of self went like this. Well, if I just love you more and I please you more and I keep you happy more, well, then you're not going to hurt me. And the matchup is not about the behaviors. A person who is not suffering from narcissistic personality disorder is not capable of the maliciousness, of the conscienceless behavior, of the ability to be so cruel and calculating and so able to undermine humanity itself. A codependent's not capable of doing that. A narcissist is. So I'm not saying that you behave anything like a narcissist. What I'm saying is that there is a suffering of original traumas that is very, very similar. Because what happens for all of us in the game of attraction is it's an emotional resonance, it's an emotional affinity that we have for other people. And we might say, well, maybe it's all to do with attractiveness. And we know it's not, because you could be around someone who's aesthetically gorgeous and their energy is quite repulsive and you're not attracted to them in any shape or form. And then you can be around somebody who's not aesthetically gorgeous, but you feel a deep affinity and an attraction for that person on a chemical level. So who are we attracted to? We're attracted to people that are familiar. And what is familiar to us is people that match our emotional resonance, which means people that share very similar inner truths about self, life, and others. Now, we all know that if a narcissist came into our life without the mask and was just a horrible narcissist, a completely exposed horrible narcissist, that we wouldn't go there. And the narcissist is wearing a mask. But the thing is, the mask is not the determinant. The mask is not actually what's attracting us. What is attracting us is a deeper emotional vibration. And science is proving this, that the greater amount of human communication is not what the cognitive mind is even registering. That is a tiny, tiny portion of it. Attraction, connection is happening at a deep subconscious emotional level. It's things that we can't even cognitively really describe. It's a feeling, it's a resonance. And it's so interesting that when you up-level your stuff after narcissistic abuse and you become an inner identity that is not a match for a narcissist, you actually find narcissistic people, even with incredible masks, you find them quite repulsive. You feel that something is off. You actually feel them in a violating way around you, and it's repugnant. It doesn't grab you anymore. You're much more attracted to people with solid inner identities, people who have healthier emotional compositions in regard to their beliefs about self, life, and others. That's what gets very attractive. Whereas previously, we found those people boring. They weren't stimulating enough, whereas narcissists completely and utterly were. So let's, like have a little bit more of a look at the people that don't have inner identities that match narcissists. These are the people that are sensible. These are the people that don't do drama. These are the people that don't hook into people to try to convince them to see life the way that they do. They already have solid beliefs. They have a solid self-identity. They already love and approve of themselves, and they don't have inner annihilating self-critique. They don't need energy or acclaim or approval or recognition or validation from the outside in order to feel whole. They just feel solid and whole. So what happens is when a narcissist unravels because they haven't hooked up with them, and the narcissist will start doing what narcissists do, which is smearing or attacking or criticizing or trying to hit them on a weak spot to get them to hook in. These people recognize it as ridiculous. They're not triggered. They just go, oh, well, that's a bit off. That's not my reality. And they pull away. They don't need to try and get in there and convince the narcissist to think differently in order to bolster their own inner identity at all. And what happens is profound, because a narcissist needs outer validation, outer recognition, outer approval, outer significance in order to know that he or she exists. And this is key. There's an inner emptiness, and the inner emptiness is to do with unresolved traumas. All of the earlier unresolved traumas that a narcissist suffered from generational DNA, which epigenetics is telling us now, and or the programming as a child, which was all to do with you're loved conditionally, you're not good enough, I was engulfed, or I was abused, or I was traumatized, or I was neglected. I wasn't able to develop from a codependent child into a solid, mature adult who could self-soothe and know self and validate and love and approve of self. So there's this inner emptiness, there's a void, and it's worse than that with a narcissist. It's an actual self-annihilating inner identity that is highly precarious, highly insecure, and needs constant outside significance in order to self-avoid the torment of the inner screaming wounds. That's how bad it is. So for a narcissist who needs narcissistic supply, like an ice addict needs ice to cope, the narcissist needs the approval of, oh, isn't he or she wonderful or good looking or helpful or kind? These are all masks. It's not genuine. It's to get the approval. And or the narcissist, something like somebody saying, well, I'm suicidal and I'm going to kill myself because you've left me. That is a great narcissistic supply as well, because that all confirms to the narcissist, I exist, I'm alive, I'm worthy to be here, I have significance because I've affected another person for good or bad. It makes no difference. But again, none of it is about the other person. It's all about the narcissist trying to offset a non-existent inner identity with a false identity from energy from outside him or herself. This is key. What makes us a match for a narcissist? What makes us susceptible to a narcissist? What makes us hook into a narcissist? That we have our own emptiness in our inner identity, that we've suffered similar wounds when we were growing up, where we weren't able to, because of our traumas, blocking our organic ability to grow into an adult and have a solid inner identity of loving and approving of ourselves and knowing ourselves as creation, God, life force, nature knows us, that we are worthy and valuable simply because we exist. We believed we weren't good enough. We also maladapted. We also put on masks. We also were doing things like not the malicious acts, not the disgusting acts, purposeful acts, not that, to render people powerless and to annihilate them so they couldn't annihilate us. What we did was we did the people pleasing, we did the overachieving, we did do the seeking approval. Or we might have become really obsessive compulsive because of the anxiety and the depression of not feeling solid on the inside. We might have been obsessive compulsive cleaners or exercise freaks, or we might have taken up some, serious addictions to try to burn off the pain of not feeling solid on the inside. This is what has made us a match for narcissists. This is what makes people susceptible to narcissists. This is what makes people hook into narcissists. So when a narcissist crosses the path of somebody like that, and I was that person too, what happens is they hit you in one of these gaps, one of your wounds, and narcissists sniff them out. They size them up very, very quickly, and that's how they hook you. Then you give over the narcissistic supply, you give over the energy, and here we have this dance of love destruction, whereby a narcissist is hooked you up for narcissistic supply, and you've hooked into the narcissist to try and get them to give you that approval, validation, sense of love, survival, security, and approval that you didn't get as a child. You're replaying your unfinished, unhealed business with them. And they're actually showing you the wounds that you need to heal. They're not the healer of your wounds. They're the deliverer of the message of them. And until we get that, we're hooked. We're like completely hooked. So for the people that don't get hooked by a narcissist cannot exist as a narcissist within their energy field for any amount of time, because a narcissist needs the payoff, needs the narcissistic supply, needs the feed. Because for a narcissist to be alone without narcissistic supply means that they are emotionally going to self-combust. They're going to go catatonic. They're not going to deal with their inner self-annihilating wounds without the offset of narcissistic supply. And they're not prepared to meet it. They're not prepared to go there. And it's a really sad human culture that we're in, which is the beliefs that we have to have ego feed, we have to have ego significance to survive. It's complete and utter BS. And that's what that means is we're never whole, we're never happy, we're only as good as our next hit of what satisfies our ego, instead of being durably, authentically at peace and whole on the inside, which is how we were always intended to be until we were trained out of being that, which is why we've got narcissism, which is why we've got victims. And our total healing path to this is to do what a narcissist will never do, which is to come in and resolve those original traumas and up-level them to health, our organic natural state. Then we're not susceptible to narcissists at all. We're not. And a narcissist will not be in our space, because a narcissist needs to hook and get narcissistic supply like a buffalo needs water in a water hole. A buffalo is not going to continue trying to drink water from a dry water hole. It has to go and find another water hole. And narcissists are exactly the same. So I hope that this has really helped you. There's a lot of information in what I've just given you. We're going to get into more specific examples. But please remember, I'm not saying the behavior is the same. I'm saying the beliefs. I'm saying the wounds are the same, not the behavior. So, you know, this is not about shaming and blaming ourselves. This is about waking up out of the trance so that we can heal this, so that we can go and claim magnificent, incredible lives, which is our divine right. It always has been. So I would love you to get involved in my free resources. And also too, I have a webinar group at the moment. We're doing profound workshopping on all of this stuff. And people are breaking through into more relief and solidness than they believed was possible in record amounts of times. And that's what the Thriver work's all about. So I would love you to join me. And also too, look out for part 2 to this, because I'm going to love taking this conversation even deeper with you. So you know what to do. Keep smiling, keep healing, keep thriving, because there is nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.